that 39% of pet owners won't own a pet again in the future. What? So dogs have been called man's best friend for over 150 years. Dogs are loyal, they're kind, they're hardworking and protective, and they offer great companionship. But now, 85% of pet owners say inflation is making owning a pet more expensive. And 41% of pet owners say they're struggling to afford the cost. And this is so sad, but 12% of American pet owners have surrendered their pet because of financial strain. That's almost 9 million households that have had to give up their pet over money. So let me ask you a question. Since so many pet owners believe their pet to be a member of the family, what do you do when you can no longer afford your fur babies?
So huddle up, team. We hope you are all doing great. If you are new here, we are John and Tara Thorman, your financial success coaches, and we're here to help you achieve financial freedom faster so you can enjoy it longer.
In this video, we're talking about the financial stress of pet ownership, how more and more families are unable to afford their pets, and what you can do about it. You're going to get actionable insights and suggestions on what you can do so that you can make the best financial decision about pets in your household. And we're going to make this real easy for you because we've got a timestamp, and in the description box you'll see the different chapters so you can go to the sections that interest you the most. Okay, we're going to tackle this topic right after you crush that like button and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a practice with us. And of course, it will mean a lot to us because it'll help us grow our channel. All right, let's get into it. So what's causing the problem of people not able to afford their pets anymore? Well, according to a 2024 pet debt report from LendingTree, 85% of pet owners blame inflation for the higher pet expenses, and 41% say they struggle to pay the rising costs. And it's no surprise that the financial struggle increases as families' household income decreases. When asked what's getting more expensive about pet ownership, 76% responded with pet food, 56% said vet services, and 40% said necessary supplies. You can see on this graph that the price of every pet-related expense has gone up, and 92% of pet owners are feeling the pinch. The startling results indicated that almost 25% of all current pet owners have considered going petless due to these higher costs. 33% of men pet owners have thought about going petless, which is double the rate of women pet owners at 14%. Age is a big factor here too, as 46% of Gen Z are more likely to consider going petless compared to 29% of millennials, 14% of Gen X, and just 7% of baby boomers. But can you imagine going petless? So how are pet owners responding to this? Well, surprising to me was this statistic, that 39% of pet owners won't own a pet again in the future. What? If this holds true, the pet industry could be in for a significant economic downturn in the near future. For many, though, the regrets of pet ownership run deep, as almost 25% responded they never would have got a pet to begin with if they knew how expensive this was going to be for them. And this regret may be due in large part to the fact that 37% of pet owners have gotten into debt because of their pets. The pet debt is rising fastest among those that unfortunately can afford it the least. 46% of pet owners that have children under the age of 18 are in pet debt. And it's about the same. It's about 41% of pet owners that earn between 50 and 100,000, and 41% of pet owners that earn 100,000 or more have all incurred pet debt. You can see on this graph that the primary culprit of pet debt is unexpected vet expenses. That's 68% due to medical emergencies. General care is 40% of pet debt. And specialized ongoing medical needs is 21% of pet debt. And the initial cost to purchase the pet at 21%. Regardless of the pet debt, emergencies are common. In fact, 64% of owners say they've had an unexpected medical expense for their pet. Despite that, just 27% have pet insurance. Now, it's way more common among Gen Zers. 57% have pet health insurance. Although the pet health insurance isn't common, but pet emergencies happen all the time. Now, there are financial sacrifices being made here to be a pet owner. It's much like being a parent of children. You're going to have to make sacrifices. Pets are expensive. 64% of pet owners are making sacrifices to have these pets. Just take a look at this graph. Among pet owners, 29% are cutting back on personal spending. That's the most common response. Meanwhile, 19% don't go on vacation because of their pet, and another 19% are taking on debt for their expenses. So let's look at some common sense preventative measures. What can you do to prevent pet debt and prevent you having to sacrifice way too much of your lifestyle to have a pet? Well, first of all, I just want to encourage you, if you're thinking about getting a pet, but you're living paycheck to paycheck already, don't do it. Get your financial house in order first and have your emergency fund fully funded, and make sure you've got cash flow where you've got overflow every month, that you're saving enough, way more than enough money. Owning a dog could easily cost you $200 a month just to keep it happy and healthy and fed. Next, having a pet budget is an absolute must. Know the real monthly costs and plan ahead for them. And don't be splurging on birthday gifts for your dog or Christmas gifts for your dog or other kinds of gifts. You got to follow a budget and stick to it. You don't want all your extra money going to your pets and nothing going into your emergency fund savings or your long-term retirement plan savings. Next, consider building up your own pet emergency fund. Like we talked about, vet expenses, those unexpected ones, are what put people into debt. So start saving for those right now, way ahead of time. And lastly, consider getting that pet health insurance. Now, next, let's talk about the hard stuff, right? The emotional situation here. What happens if you really can't afford your pet anymore? This is going to rip your heart out unless we come up with a better alternative, okay? So let's look at some options. Number one, of course, spend less on your pets. You don't have to get them this premium, exotic, luxury dog food, okay? Cut back on the name brands and find less expensive options that are still going to be healthy and nutritious for your dog, but are just not going to cost as much money. Same thing goes with all of the accessories, the leashes, the dog beds, the bowl, anything having to do with your pet. Look at dialing it down, right? Go for less expensive options. You don't need the best brands and the most expensive. Heck, you don't even need brand new. You can look at getting some used or secondhand options that'll keep your pet just as happy and healthy. Next, I really want to encourage you with this. It's not so much about the resources or maybe the lack of resources as it is about your resourcefulness, okay? You can be resourceful and creative and find options here to make owning a pet more affordable. Let's look at this. Have you ever heard of the Rover app? Yeah, it's a great app that brings people that need dog walking services or pet sitting services with local people in their community that can provide them. I mean, if you already own a dog or a cat and you love animals, then you can make yourself available to help your neighbors and do pet sitting for them or dog walking for them and make extra money so you can afford your own pet. And if you live in a neighborhood where you've got a nice sized backyard or bigger property, there's an app for that too that'll let you take your property, your yard, and turn it into a local dog park. And you can rent out space for other dog owners in the area that can come over and use your backyard as a dog park for their pet. Outside of that, you can look at a multitude of other options that you can get on as a side hustle to make extra money so that you can afford a pet. Now, if you find yourself facing some huge veterinary bill, some unexpected expenses, and you can't afford it, talk to your vet. There's may be some local nonprofit organizations or charities. There's groups that'll help with the vet expenses, or maybe there's another vet in the area that can work on a much lower payment scale. There's things you can do. You just have to speak up, you have to ask, and you have to go looking for it. And finally, as a last resort, if you just can't afford your pet and there's no way around it, then you're going to need to look into adoption. Give your pet another home where they can live out their life. There's some apps that'll help you out with that too. I found Adopt a Pet, I found Pet Finder, and of course there's some local shelters you might want to reach out and see what opportunities are available to you locally. But there are resources available to help you rehome your pet. If that's the last thing, the final option that you've got available to you, then you can do that. Owning a pet is so good for you as a pet owner. It brings you joy in your life. And if you're out walking your dog, it actually makes you walk and get some fitness in, so it's shown health benefits for dog owners. But owning a pet is a big deal. It's a responsibility, and I want you to take it seriously. Don't get into owning a pet if you can't afford it. And if you're struggling, get intentional about finding some options to help you make it more affordable. We hope you love on your pet, and we hope to see you on the next video.